Right, just before I move on to the setting up of a tremolo, I've just started polishing the frets, and I just want to show the difference between polished frets and unpolished frets. And I'm going to see if you can tell the difference by zooming in. Can you tell which ones have been polished and which ones haven't there? I'll tell you which ones have been polished. The first 7 frets have been polished. They're absolutely shining silver. They look brilliant from this angle. I don't know whether you can see from that angle over there. These are all dull in comparison. I've taken some photographs because they're so good. They stand a bit just like super shiny silver. So I wanted to show that before I move on to the next part of the process, part of the setup. I'm going to carry on now. I'm going to polish the rest of these frets, and once that's done, I'm going to take the tape off. And then we're going to move on to setting up the Floyd Rose, which hopefully I'm going to do the whole lot, show you how to set up a Floyd Rose properly. Right, back again. I'm just going to show you now. All the frets are polished. I've just got this last one to do, so hopefully I'm going to zoom in and you're going to see the difference between a polished fret and an unpolished fret. Now you can see where I mentioned that there are grooves in these frets. We're going to need to sort that out pretty soon in the next few months. Otherwise we're going to go in too deep and you're going to need a complete refret. Refret's expensive. Fret level is not as expensive. So anyway, the difference between a polished fret, this one's polished. In fact, all the frets are polished now, bar this one. Hopefully you can see the difference between the two. That's a polished fret, that's an unpolished fret. I'm going to polish the last one here. What we're doing is we're taking any tarnishing off there. We're going to get right in the edges. This is why we tape up, you see, because we don't want to be bringing any of the lacquer off the fretboard. So we get them all taped up like so, and we get a thumb in there and we get it right in and get a good polish. You can use some kind of metal polish if you want. I don't think it's necessary. It's not going to make any difference to anything. If I'm doing an intensive polish, say I'm doing a complete fret level or a refret, then we do get a proper polish. But this is not necessary. For sake of 10 quid for a job that takes me an hour, you know, you're not gonna be so intensive. So there you go. All the frets are now polished. There's a bit of wear on these. It's not too bad, but I'd say in the next few months I'd look at getting a fret level, because we can skim. We could skim it if we wanted to. We could skim 0.2 of a millimetre off the frets, but if we skim it off one fret, we've got to skim it off all the frets, and then once that's done we've got to re-crown again, because we're making the tops flat and we'd have to re-crown them. So it's quite an intensive job, but it's half the price of a complete refret. So something I'd look at getting done pretty soon. Now we've done that, whoops, wrong way there. Now we've done that, we're ready to remove the tape, which we'll do now. Now, because I'll put a strip down this side, I should be able to take them more or less all off in one go. Just find the end of the tape. There you go. And we're going to follow this all the way down. Doesn't always work, but you get there or thereabouts. It's the easiest way I've found, and the quickest way. So all the frets are polished now. So you can see. As long as we've got all the ends loose here, we can take stuff off pretty quickly. I mean, the lot can come off now. We'll leave that blue tape on for a minute and leave the pickup covered, just because there's still some filings on there. We don't want to get it on the pickup. So what we're going to do is we can take all this gear off. There's a clean fretboard. again from this end. All the tape off, get a quick wipe over. Take all the there you go, all the gearmans off there. And there you go, that is all the frets levelled and polished. Right, the next part of the job is going to be setting up the Floyd Rose. So I'll stop the video there. Frets all polished, looking absolutely beautiful. They're all level. A couple of concerns, like I say, with the quite a bit of wear on some of these frets going right up to here, to about the 12th fret. Also, some of these inlays are lifting at this end, they need gluing back in. So I'll talk to you about that. It'll be fine for now, but it's something we need to address in the near future. So that's it. The frets are done, we're all levelled, we're all recrowned, and they're all polished. Going to move on now to the Floyd Rose, so I'll be back in a bit. Right, let me change the scenery. I've got the camera at a completely different angle now because I'm going to show you how to set up a Floyd Rose. Now, take the back off and I've released the middle spring. I've looked inside, I've found in here, there's tissue in here which stops the springs giving that spring noise when you use a tremolo, so that's a pretty good idea. But I'm going to remove the middle spring, take these bits of tissue out, which I'll put back later. Put that stuff with all the stuff. You notice when I'm working on a guitar, I get all the bits for that guitar, stick it all in a bag, keep it all in one place. So we've done that. So there you go. So there's, you can see your tremolo there. It's facing in that way. What I need to do is I'm going to block it here. So what I'm going to do is, I've got various little things I made. This is like taped up washers, plastic washers, various thicknesses, and ones that stick there. And what we're going to do is, I want to get this level, so I'm going to go with one that makes the tremolo sit in its basically level position, or its floating position, should I say. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to just stick that in there. Now that's still down too much, so we're going to need something thicker than that. We're going to need something that thick. If I've got nothing, I'll make something. So let's go with, that's nowhere near. Well, again, that's nowhere near. So what we're going to do is, we're going to make something. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to make something thick enough, and I'm going to come back and show you where we're at. So I might as well pause the video for now. I'll be back shortly. Right, I had to scrap the block idea because I don't have a block thick enough and it wasn't holding. It does happen sometimes because when we've got the tremolo sat on its pivot points, it's got no string tension coming from the other side, they tend to slip off. So what I've done is, next best thing, I'm lucky enough to have really long screwdrivers. So I've used a screwdriver straight through the tremolo, which is holding it in the perfect level position. Also what I've done on the other side, which I always do, is I've tightened these springs up, tightened them right in as much as they'll go, meaning I've got more tension on there than we're actually going to need. And what that's going to do is, because it's pulling the block that way, and you've got the screwdriver stopping it. Let's get to where we're going to be. Got a screwdriver holding it in position. It means no matter how tight we get the strings on here, when they're under tension, it's not going to pull the tremolo forward. So it means what we can do is, because the tremolo is now in a horizontal position where we need it to be, in a floating position, we'll get the strings in, we'll get them tightened up, we'll get it all to tension. Once we've got it all tensioned up and the strings in tune, blah de blah de blah, we'll stretch the strings as we do normally. We'll stretch the strings, we'll get it all in tune. We'll stretch them again, we'll stretch them again, we'll stretch them 3 times. Once it's all in tune, we'll clamp at the nut end. We'll have the guitar in tune, all clamped up both ends, so it's in the locked position. Then what we'll do is we'll remove the screwdriver. What's going to happen when we remove the screwdriver is the tremolo is going to pull in towards the body because the springs, I've set that much tension on the springs, it's going to pull it down. It's absolutely fine that, because this is the way we get it set up. Once we know it's in this position and it's tuned in and the guitar is in perfect tune, we know once we get that bridge back to that position, it's going to be in perfect tune again. So what we do is, once we've got all the strings locked in, blah de blah de blah, and once we take the screwdriver out there, or the block, or whatever it is, it's going to pull that way. All we do is we loosen these two screws until we've got the fifth string or the A string in tune. We keep it going parallel, so we undo both screws the same amount. Once we've got the A string in tune, or the fifth string, which will be this one, all the other strings should also be in tune, and the tremolo will be in that position. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm not going to show you all this because I don't need to. I don't know if you can see here, the ring is snap lock, both sides on this pickup. This is unfortunate. If I've got a spare one, I'll put it on just before I put the strings on. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to put the strings on, get it all under tension. Once I've done that, I'm going to come back to you, because there's no point showing you every single thing. There's plenty of videos. I'm just going to show you my way. So I'll be back to you shortly. Okay, we're now going to put the strings in. Now what I've done is, and I always do this, I put the ball end at the far end of the guitar, at the headstock end, and thread that through, and the ball stops the string in its tracks, and we take the free end and we'll put the free end in here, and what we do is I cut it an inch over, so it gives us a couple of turns on the tuner at the other end. But what I want to highlight about this is, make sure plenty of this string is going inside where the saddle is. This is why I undo them quite a lot, and I'll get in there with a thin screwdriver and I'll make sure this saddle block is all the way back, and I'll take the string and I'll insert it all the way. Now you look at that, we've got that much inserted of the whole string. It's a lot, and it's what we need, because we need a good grip on there. Because I've seen people set Floyds up and the strings start to ping out, and the reason they ping out is we haven't got enough in there. Insert, it's almost a centimetre, and we'll push it in till it hits the base, and once it's hit the base, get your 2.5mm Allen wrench on there, tighten it up like so, keep it going. That's pretty tight there. What I'm going to do is that once I've got it finger tight, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one little turn, I'm just going to give it an 1/8 of a turn, and that's in. That's all you need. We're going to do this with all the strings. We're not going to bother, we're not going to set these yet, we don't need to do any of that until we start getting it under tension. So I'm going to do this with all the strings. I'm going to tighten them all up, and I'll come back to you once I've got all the strings on and we've got them all under tension. Just to show you again, we're on the next string now. See where it goes in? I've cut an inch over. I've loosened it enough to insert the string in the side. I'm going to show you how much we get again, just to emphasise how much we get in there. We'll push it in, push it all the way down. Finger mark, see that? That's 10mm, that's a centimetre. That's how much string you should be getting in to that saddle there, like that. In again, tighten up, finger tight, bring it up, 1/16 of a turn, that's plenty. Like I say, I'll get on with the others and I'll come back to you shortly. Right, I've now got the block. I've got a little wedge in there. I normally make one, I've had this one years. I don't know if you can see it there. It's right in here. It's made of sucker sticks all taped together, and it keeps the block solid against the body. It's not going to move. I've got the springs tightened right up, so now what we're going to do is we're going to tune the guitar in. Now I've already got the strings on under tension, and I've got the tremolo level exactly as it needs to be. Now what I've done is here on the fine tuners, we want them right in the centre so we can adjust. Once we've fine tuned everything, we can adjust up or down with equal measure either way. So how we set that is, we get one all the way up, like so, one all the way down, blah blah blah, and then we can measure this one in the centre. Then what we do is we level them all off. Really easy, self-explanatory. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to level these all up. I like a little bit more tightening adjustment that I do loosening. So there you go. We've got all these all just about level, and now what we're going to do is we're going to tune in just about. I'm going to get it close. So we're close here. Now we're close, what we're going to do is we're going to stretch the strings 3 or 4 times, all the strings, and we're going to give them a good stretch, both ends, right all the way up to the tuner. And I'm probably going to do this 3 or 4 times. I'm not going to show all of this, I'm just going to keep stretching the strings till we stretch no more and we've got it in tune. Then I'll come back to you once that's done, and we'll carry on with the setup. Right, I've stretched the strings about 4 or 5 times now. The intonation was already done anyway. That's where it needs to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the locking nuts clamped on at the nut end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera back to the end of the table so I can show you things easier, because we're all done at this end now. All I really need to do at the moment is get the nuts sorted out. We'll come back here and I'll show you how I do the final setup and how we balance the tremolo once we've got the block out. So bear with me, I'll be back shortly. Right, final part of the Jackson DK2M guitar that came in for a setup. It had a bent neck, the tremolo wasn't sitting right. I had a bit of a problem with it yesterday because one of the bridge posts, I didn't realise, kept falling out. I couldn't get the tremolo to sit straight. And I had a look, and I'd set all the strings off again, check it out again. One of the bridge posts was just pulling out with fingers, so what I've done is I've glued it back in, got it all back in. The guitar is now set up. I just want to show you the string ends. I put the ball ends in that end, it makes it a lot easier to string up. I've got the locking nuts all tightened down. I've got the guitar in tune. Now I want to show the final part of setting up the tremolo. As you can see, the tremolo is floating beautifully level. Got the action nice and low, got the neck nice and straight. So it's all in tune, blah blah blah. A beautiful tune. Now what we're going to do is, what I need to do is, you see I've got a block in there holding the tremolo in position. I've got the springs really tight. Now it's all set up, the strings have been stretched 5 or 6 times, so we're completely stretched. We're going to stay in tune only when this is completely level. What we have to do now is we're going to remove that block. What's going to happen is the bridge is going to spring back, and to get it in tune what we need to do is we're going to loosen the claw. Here's the claw. We're going to loosen the claw until the tremolo's sitting straight and we've got the A string tuned to pitch. Once the A string's tuned to pitch, the tremolo's level, it just naturally follows that all the other strings are going to be in pitch. Once we know it's in tune, that's it. It'll stay in tune, we can use the tremolo and it'll be out. That's how we actually, that'll be it. That'll be the Floyd set up. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to stick on the, I'm not going to stick it on, I'm just going to put it on loosely. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to remove this block. There you go, that was my block holding the tremolo. Now as you can see, the tremolo has sprung back. And what we need to do now is, we're going to alter. I'm going to move the camera, make it easier. Right, can you see there? Not quite. I'm going to just move the camera there, and what we're going to do is we're going to loosen these 2 screws here until we're all level. So I'm going to blob on with that, and then we'll get the tuner on it, and it should be just about right. We do a little at a time. I've got the tuner plugged in, but I ain't got it turned on yet. There's no need because I'm going to know where I am. Just keep checking the tremolo, and once you get close, Let me show you what I'm doing. I'm undoing these two claw screws here. Once you start getting close, which we're pretty close here, get the tune on and twang the A string. Right, we're a little bit flat there, so I'm going to tighten up. We're sharp, not flat. I'm being silly. The A string I need to tune down to G because we're in D standard here. Just keep going. Right, we're just about. Oh, we're just about there now. Do a quarter of a turn at a time on these screws now. There you go. Right, that's tuned in. That's G. A little bit sharp. The G's in. Yep, the C's in. F, A, D, D. That's it. We're in tune. What I've done is I've loosened them screws. All the strings are now in tune relative to each other. And the bridge is perfectly floating. So that is how you set up a Floyd Rose. We're perfectly floating. We've got pull back. That's it. We're in perfect tune. Job done. That's a complete setup on a Floyd Rose. That concludes the setup video on this Jackson DK2M. Oh, what I just meant to add was I got these old central when I put the strings on before I tuned it in, so we got enough adjustment up and down. So that's it, the guitar is completely set up. The action's nice and low. I think you can see there. Blah 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 blah. Guitar set up, ready to go back to its owner. Unfortunately, it's not going back to its owner today because since we spoke yesterday, or since I talked to him yesterday, he's decided he now wants a complete fret level because some of the frets need working on. So I'm going to bob on that today. Some strings are coming off. I'm going to do a complete fret level, get all set up for it tomorrow. So that's that. Just before I do go, I just want to zoom in on, don't know what you can see there. If I zoom into the screen, see that guitar there? That's a Kramer Focus 3000 built in between 83 and 85 in Japan. I've just bought one of them for 140 quid. It's got an original Floyd Rose on it and it's got a Seymour Duncan Invader, a custom shop Invader. So I'm really excited to get that. So that's it. That's the end of this video. Until I do the next video, next project, be good to each other and I'll talk to you soon.